Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. I thought I'd talk a little bit today about the upside of injuries, the upside of being injured, or even of getting sick. I know that when you're injured or when you're sick, it's not always easy to have people say to you, "Oh, the gift of illness, oh, the gift of being injured. You can benefit from this." And it can seem a little smug, it can seem a little arrogant, and it can piss you off if you happen to be really injured or really sick, to have other people tell you what a blessing it is. I'm not doing that personally with people in my life who are actually sick or actually having hard times. I'm not walking up to them and saying, "Oh, there's a real gift here." If the conversation is going in that direction, or I might make a suggestion or something, or point something out if it feels really right and they're receptive to it. But generally, I want to have more, sympathy for the person who's sick and not stick my foot in my mouth. But I'm going to talk about myself. Whenever I get an injury to one of my joints, I get a little tendinitis, or I pull a muscle, or something's out of whack. One of the first things I do is in my practice, I'm forced to, if I'm smart, go back to what I call bone level. It's one of the things that I write about in my book I wrote called Tai Chi for Geniuses. I break down the Tai Chi training into these 4 levels, and just briefly, the way I teach and practice is I divide the work into 4 levels of work. They're not levels of attainment like belts and stuff. They're just levels of work. So the first level is bone level, and bone level is attending to your skeleton. It's attending to the basic posture of your art, whatever it is. If it's a recipe, it's reading the recipe word for word and adhering to it. If it's the Tai Chi, it's the skeletal alignment. If it's driving a car, it's the rules of the road, If it's a song, it's note for note for note what that song, what the song is. That structure supports relaxation. Like, the muscles can relax and not be overly tense. They can be efficient, not use too much or too little strength. So the muscle level is really about, if it's the song, it's playing those notes smoothly and relaxedly without any bumps. If it's the recipe, you have it out, you're not following it to the letter, you're more relaxed about it. You can be more casual. If it's the Tai Chi, you're not holding the bone level, you're relaxed into it a little bit more and find a more efficient, relaxed way to move. If it's rules of the road, you're gripping the wheel less tightly, you're just more comfortable, you're more relaxed. So structure supports that release of extra tension. And then the 3rd level, which I called energy level in the book, but energy level is kind of, the word energy implies all kinds of stuff these days, and there's all kinds of people who think of energy as like the Force from Star Wars, and I'm not a very woo-woo kind of practitioner. I'm very grounded in everyday physics, and a bit of a chi skeptic, but it's really the nervous system is the energetic communication network in our body is essentially the nervous system, as far as I can tell. So you have good structure, you have relaxed muscles, then you kind of suspend and open the joints. And the nervous system, both the sensory nerves bringing information in and the motor nerves sending action signals out, can flow unimpeded, the yin and yang of nerves, and you're really kind of more in balance and more comfortable, and better able to respond as a whole unit. As a whole, your intent goes through your nervous system, connects to your muscles and bones, and moves. So I would call it now the nervous system level, or I might even call it the joint level, or the energy level, if I've already explained to someone what I mean by that. And then the 4th level is the spirit level, which is just where you're one with what you're doing, and you're out of the picture. Your normal thinking, processing ego is kind of in the passenger seat, and you're one with what you're doing. That level I don't really teach. I don't know if it can be taught. I don't think about that. It comes and goes by some kind of grace all by itself. But the other levels I work on. I work on posture, I work on softness and relaxation, and I work on floating my joints a little bit and letting my nervous system move through my whole body. So when I get injured, I'm always forced to go back to really good alignment, because if my alignment is off and I'm injured, oh man, it just makes everything worse. So it always brings me back to the basics. It always takes me back to, in a sense, square one. And there's real value in that, to go back to the real basic, simple alignment and structural kind of analysis of the posture or the movements. And it's nice because I don't have the luxury of skipping that or treating it lightly. I'm forced to, like, ow, my ankle is unstable and hurting and sore, or ow, I've pulled a muscle. So it forces me to stay with the basic structure in my body. Likewise, when I'm sick, like I have a cold or an illness, I can't do all this. I can't do higher levels of practice or fancy stuff. I have to adhere to real basic life routines and basic stuff, like what am I eating, how much am I resting, is there any medication I can take for this? It gets me down to earth. Also, I don't have energy for bullshit. I don't have energy for social games and just stuff that's not really to the point of life. So it can be a plus side for me to get sick, that I have to really take care of myself. I have to really adhere to the basic structures of life. Don't have energy for extraneous stuff. It kind of takes me back to the basics, and it slows me down. So slowing down is not always great, but for me, I grew up fairly speedy and fairly mental and fairly talkative and verbal, and when I get sick, it slows me down a little bit, and I notice things kind of horizontally more than just vertical go, forward go. It makes me smell the roses a little bit more, and I really appreciate simple things in my illness and in my recovery from it. I really appreciate simple things like breathing, like walking, like eating, simple things like that. Getting sick can help me connect to basic humility and gratitude for the simple well-functioning of my body. So that can be another positive side. So if you get sick and I meet you, I'm unlikely to dump all this stuff on you while you're frustrated and ill and injured and say, oh man, it's a gift. I'm just putting this out there in a general way to look for the positives, look for the things that you can work on with extra clarity and extra focus when you're ill, that you can't when you're healthy, either because you take it for granted or you're just moving too fast and things are just flowing too quickly to notice. There are some real pluses to being ill, and it's a drag, and it sucks, and it's painful, and it's the last thing I ever want to do is injure myself. I'm going to be turning 61 this summer, and I've made a little vow to myself that I'm more or less keeping, that I don't want an injury to tell me what I'm too old to do. So I rein my edges in, and I'm a little more careful each year as I get older, because I don't want to get hurt and realize, oh gee, I'm too old to do that. I really try to avoid injury. I am prone to tendonitis and prone to certain kinds of muscle strains, so I build my strength very slowly and very carefully, and I don't overdo it. I don't push myself to the point of strain, hard strain, but I do push myself. I'm interested in being as strong as I can be and still be healthy, but I don't use too much force. I do not like getting injured, but when I am injured, I take advantage of the positive side of it, as well as just feeling what a drag it is to be injured and what a drag it is to be sick. So just some thoughts on that subject for you to chew on and hopefully find of use. I make these videos because I would like to be helpful. I started this channel to share ideas that work for me and that help me in my practice and in my life, and I hope they help you too. I don't have ads on this channel anymore, which I'm actually kind of glad for because I always had mixed feelings about them. But I don't have revenue either, so, and I'm a long way from wealthy. I make a pretty marginal living doing this. So if you'd like to contribute to my little enterprise here, I have a PayPal link down below in the description, and feel free to make a donation, large or small, anytime you wish, and if not, no problem, totally optional. You can also visit GeneBurnett.com for more info on me and the other stuff that I do. Thanks for watching.